And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again. It's your favorite time of the week. It is Keeping It Rio time. And I am stoked for today's episode. This is 226. And I was just telling my guest exactly 842 days ago, I recorded episode 110 of Keeping It Rio. And it was an amazing opportunity to speak to a gentleman who at that time was actually sitting in front of a brick wall. And I'm actually looking at it right now as we speak. Not sitting in front of a brick wall today, but ladies and gentlemen, we are going to bring some serious heat today because it has been 842 days in the making. And I think I remember 842 days ago saying, Alan, we got a lot more to talk about, buddy. So it's just been building up that entire time with no hesitation whatsoever. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to welcome today's guest, the one and only legendary figure, Alan Mick, back to Keeping It Rio. What is going on, my friend?
Oh man, thank you for that introduction, brother. I couldn't be more excited to be back on this, and I cannot believe that it's been that long. And now I'm kind of disappointed. I wish I would have done episode 220, so there was 110 in between, and then every 110 I just do another episode. But hey, we're 6 episodes off. We're out here. So much has changed in my life, and really, I think from our previous episode, we just touched the tip of the iceberg of all the things we could talk about. I'm still a huge fan of Keeping It Rio. I love being on podcasts that I love watching. So, and I'm not a big podcast guy either. So it says a lot, Chuck.
Well, I appreciate that, and certainly love the fact that somebody's watching it. So makes it worthwhile to me, and I enjoy doing it. So it's cool. And I will say this. Episode 220, I believe, was Eric Oberhempt, and he was actually one episode, one way or the other, from being exactly halfway from one point to the other. So This would have been awesome if we'd have done it 6 weeks ago, but we've had 6 more weeks of questions and 6 more weeks of things to come up with. So, ladies and gentlemen, it will be worth it. Believe me when I tell you that. So let's just kick this bad boy off, my friend. I want to tell a very quick story, and then we're going to dive into this episode because we got a lot to talk about today. So about 6 months or so ago, I was here in San Antonio having a great day. I think it was a Wednesday. I don't remember exactly, but for the story, it was a Wednesday. And my phone starts ringing. And I look down and I see Alan Mick. And I'm like, what's this? Like, this is greatness calling me, and this doesn't happen very often. So I answer the phone immediately. I was actually talking to a homeowner, and I was like, I gotta go. Somebody very important is on the phone here. I'll be back. Walked outside, and this is a true story. I actually did tell the homeowner I'd be back in a couple minutes, and I was actually on a roof when we spoke. But you gave me a call about 6 months ago, give or take, and we started discussing something that I was very intrigued by. And that was your involvement in the new and improved Win the Storm conference. And because it was you that was calling me, I answered it, and I wanted to learn as much as I could. And I think we talked for about an hour that day. You kind of gave me a little bit of the vision. And to start today's episode, I'd like to kind of ask you to replicate that conversation and just tell the fans what the vision is, how you became involved with Win the Storm, because we've got this event coming up here in a few weeks, and it's been months in the making, and a lot of hard work has gone into it. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved with this event that had kind of, in a way, run its course to a degree and became revamped. I went last year, had a great time. How did you get involved with this bad boy?
Oh, that's our good friend Josie Parks, man. He's to blame for this. I always say, Josie's really funny, and we talk a lot about it. And so he purchased Win the Storm from Anthony, and it's very crucial that we start there because the old Win the Storm has a lot of negativity surrounding it. A lot of it has to do with the owner and the owner's incentives. So I'm really big about incentives, even more so than intentions. Sometimes you can have the best of intentions and do wrong, but typically if you're incentivized properly, then you're going to do right. And that's one thing where Anthony, the old owner of Win the Storm was how he made money, right? That's his sole source of income. And like a lot of people, when it's their whole source of income, they rely on that and they're going to do things with from that incentive. And I'm not here to bash on him or anything like that, but it's really easy to get greedy and make decisions that way, and things can go really negatively really fast. But it was dying out, and Josie decided to purchase it. And a big reason, he's got his story that you should probably talk to him about. You might want to have him on the show to talk about it if you haven't
I would
already.
love to. Josie
You know,
Parks, here's your invite.
but that's a whole nother story. I'll let him tell why he decided to buy it. But he called me shortly after he bought it, maybe a month or two later. And one of the big things that he knew, he had the foresight to know, he didn't want to put himself in that same position. I trust Josie. I know him really well. I know he's full of integrity, and I know he's going to make the right decisions regardless of his incentives. But not a lot of people know that, and it's really hard to trust him unless you truly, truly know somebody. So he wanted to create a board, and he's actually on the board of directors or the board of advisors for the International Roofing Expo. So he really wanted to, success leaves clues. He wanted to follow best practices. There's this other great conference, this great event called the International Roofing Expo in the roofing industry. And he's like, look, we have a board there that does all of these big decisions. So the power is not in one person. It's not one singular person, because we as people, we as humans, were flawed, and we could fall prey to that bad incentive. So he created a board. He called me first because he wanted my help to create that. I've been in the roofing industry my entire life. He says that I'm Bane. I was born in the darkness. So I don't know if you've seen Batman, but the Bane guy off Batman that was born in the darkness. It's kind of funny story there, but so he called me, and a lot of it could be character, could be other things. It could be the relationship that him and I have. And immediately, so I started thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh man, we've got this Win the Storm conference coming up. How do we create something that's not just me now? Now he shifted it over to me. Well, I'm just one person too. And how do people trust me? So I put an entire board together. We started reaching out to people and grabbing this board of directors. But the thing is, this was last year, not this year's Win the Storm. It was last year's. And he bought it with like 2 months left, maybe 3 months before the show. So it was crunch time. They didn't have time to do anything, plan anything. It was, hey, get it together. So we tried to get some people together, and we had a few people that gave a whole lot. We really couldn't have much of an impact on that show. And we kind of knew it coming together that, hey, right now the plan is to get the show off the ground. Let's make it happen, and let's do it in a way that serves the industry. From there, the very next year, skip forward to this year, we had a lot of time to plan. So we started creating multiple boards. So I started with the board of directors. We slowly filled that up. We have an amazing board of directors with people that are successful in multiple other spaces and just high integrity individuals. And off of that board, we started creating other segments, other boards, if you will. And so we've got a board of activities and events. And this board is in charge of things like the Roofer Olympics that we're putting on the first night, and just making sure that you bring the fun back to the event. We've got a board of advisors. The board of advisors is a really selective group, and it's people that have already achieved massive success, but they've done it the right way, through the highest standards, through integrity, and people that you really trust. And a big part of their role is the award show. Because if you remember correctly, we didn't even do the award show last year because we knew we've lost the trust of the community. The community didn't trust us as an organization to do an award show that's not pay to play. So we waited a year, and then we went and we asked the entire community via social media, text messages, emails, to nominate the people that they trusted the most in the community. And we took the people that were nominated and put it across the boards. And then we came out with 5 people. And that's who we have for the board of advisors. And then going to Chuck, this is one part that was huge for me. And it's the board of health and wellness. So I reached out to Chuck and I was like, Chuck, man, we've got this board that I think would be a perfect fit for you. It's the board of health and wellness. And because a big part of where we start as individuals, as people, it's whether that's a father, it's a son of God, whether that's a brother, a mother, whoever you are, much less a business owner or salesperson in our roofing industry, it starts in here with your body. You have to be right with your body and being healthy and being right mentally. It's huge. And I think that we're lucky to live in a time where that's a big thing in the world right now. And so we, as Win the Storm, we wanted to really lift that up and create a board that truly pushes that with activities and stuff. And you were one of the first people that came to my mind. And I was like, how do we get Chuck involved? So let's skip forward when I give you a call out of the blue and you're on the roof and I just start spitting out everything and speaking from my heart about all these things that's going on with Win the Storm and how we're trying to change it and change the industry and make an impact and how we want you to be a part of it. You know?
Yeah, it was a tremendous honor. And I think in the first town hall, and I think when we spoke that first time, I told you, initially I had some hesitation because of what had become of Win the Storm. And I didn't want to tie myself to something negative, but I also recognized at that time that, guys like Alan are not going to be involved with something that's not going to have a high level of integrity, that's not going to try to provide value and bring something to the community. Because many times over the years, I've heard you say, I'm first generation and I was born into this. This wasn't my second chance. I didn't mean first generation, but you know what I mean? You were born
first
into
choice
the industry.
to come to this industry.
And, yeah. And it means everything to you. And it has been your entire life. So to me, I looked at it from that perspective. And I think our first conversation, I said, well, let me think about this for a minute or two. Give me a call back. And as soon as you got off the phone with me, I started really thinking about it. And it was like, well, this is a pretty cool opportunity for me because I love the industry. I've been in it for 27 years myself. It wasn't my first thing. And I always tell the story about how I got into roofing. It was a complete accident on a Friday. I had a bad day at my job. I ended up going into a roofing supply place, and here I am 27 years later. But it's afforded me so many amazing opportunities. I've traveled the world. I've met some of the greatest people. I've made friends. I've been able to do this podcast with some of the best people in the industry. And I thought to myself, to be a part of this community and to show that there is a desire to change and that this isn't going to be the same thing, because there has been a negative connotation. And I think roofing conferences in general kind of went through a little bit of a lull there where it was like, well, it's the same thing year after year. We're seeing the same speakers. We're seeing the same stuff. What is my motivation to travel halfway across the country to attend this? And I started really digging into it and seeing some of the people that you were getting involved. And it was like, wow, this is not a joke. This is a legitimate opportunity for me to grow my network, to continue to be around some of the people that I absolutely admire, look up to, and appreciate in the industry. And I can't thank you enough. I'll publicly say that, for calling me that day, because it triggered something in me that really led me to think, man, this is going to change something. And I do want to be a part of it. So we decided, hey, I'd like to be a part. I think I could probably do more than I have to this point. And I'm thankful for you being here today, because I want to promote the event as much as I possibly can as well. I think it's going to be great. And I think that if there are people that are either on the fence or maybe had a negative experience in the past, like myself, this is a great opportunity to kind of reboot and say, hey, let's make this happen. So you talk about the boards, the people that you've put on there. This is a podcast about name dropping. So let's talk a little bit about some of the people that are going to be involved with this Win the Storm conference, because I think it is absolutely the most star-studded and the most honorable board and the most honorable group of people in the industry. You've got the elite. So tell me a little bit about some of the people that have been involved throughout this process and why they are going to make this a different event. The event last year was great, but like you said, it was very short as far as preparation. I think you guys did an amazing job. I had a blast, and I wouldn't have gone to it last year had it not been for the involvement of some of the people that were there early on, because I had written it off, quite frankly. But let's talk a little bit about some of the people that are involved and some of the ways that they're helping to make this happen.
Yeah, I forgot the board of future roofing leaders too. And I meant to mention that earlier. So one thing that and you brought it up and kind of jogged my memory with it is it for so long, the roofing industry has been like a second chance industry. So a lot of people got into, especially storm restoration, not so much, a lot of roofing, traditional retail roofing companies, maybe handed down from family members, but especially storm restoration, they've gone and done something else and then found the roofing industry. And that could be maybe failures in life, maybe mistakes in life, and they ended up there. That could be just the fact that it was just out of luck and pure chance. And every single person that I've talked to that came across the roofing industry in that way, their one wish is that they joined sooner. Like, I wish I knew about roofing sooner.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a huge thing. And why we exist is our calling. It's ours to build, it's ours to create, and it's ours to protect our industry. It's our community. It's a community of people, not just an industry. And so how do we attract people and get people in early on to help save them from going through those mistakes? And so we've created this board of future roofing leaders that are younger, first generation. It's their first choice. They came to this industry first. They're in their 20s or really early 30s, and they're business owners that are doing 10 million plus a year. These guys are amazing leaders of the industry, and it just so happens they're young, and we're putting them on a pedestal and saying most people probably are in their 20s and roofing's not cool. Like, I don't want to get into roofing. I don't want to be a roofer. They think that. And I thought that. I even went to college briefly because I didn't want to be a roofer. And it's funny, even working like for $100 million a year company, I was embarrassed of it. Like, I didn't want to call all of my college friends or my friends and bring them into the industry because I was embarrassed of it. It was like, I felt like it was dirty in some way because it's the roofing industry. And it's like, now I see some of those friends struggling in their lives, and I feel guilt because I didn't attract them to the industry sooner, because I know they would have been successful. So how do we build a community that attracts people that, hey, this is something that's amazing. This is beautiful. This is something that's going to grow your business, grow your family, and really impact all sorts of lives, whether that's in your circle or around your entire community. And like we were talking about earlier, you can't do that by yourself. The only way to do that is to grab the best people and put them under one roof. And that's what we started doing. There's still opportunity open. One thing that I don't want to do is say, just because you're not on one of these boards doesn't mean you're not one of the best people. There's so many good people in our industry that have yet to be recognized, and we're doing everything that we can to get all the community involved. So I really want to say that out there. If you're watching this and you're like, well, what about me? Well, come on, reach out to me. If you hear this, if you feel this, if you think you can make an impact and help, or if you just want to try, then please reach out. But I'll start with the board of directors. And it's funny, I got to grab my list because we have so many people that are involved already. And that's one thing that's really cool. But Crystal Watterson is absolutely amazing. Heath Hicks, Jack Hanks, Jay Haynes, Jonathan Sherwood, obviously Josie Parks, Justin Dant, Logan Graff, Raymond Little, and Zach or Zub Kerr, right? So a heavy list of people that are all, just, to me, it's just high integrity people that are successful in their own right, in their own business, whether it's roofing or roofing adjacent. They've all done it the right way, and they all pour into it. They all have that passion. The thing about the boards is, and this, is it does take up a lot of time. So there's people that we've reached out to, and that would be a really good fit for certain boards, but they just don't have the time or the passion to be able to commit to it. There's people that want to join next year and things like that. So that's the board of directors. So I don't know if there's anybody in that you want to talk about specifically, but I mean, it's pretty amazing to have that.
Yeah, that's a very high level of integrity right there. When you mention names like Raymond Little, Jack Hanks, Jonathan Sherwood, these are elite people in our industry, and I think that it really just goes to show the level of quality and the simple fact that these people are at the very highest point of the industry. No matter what their paths were to get there, they were all different, and they've all come a different route. We all ended up at the same place. And now it's like, hey, the mindset is common that we want to help build the industry. We want to build this for the future. We want roofing to be cool, because at the end of the day, roofing is pretty cool. I think the negative connotation is always going to be there just because of history and what it is. There are definitely some people in the industry that don't belong on a board of directors, and do things for the wrong reasons and take advantage of the situation. But when you can put an assembly of that magnitude and that quality together, you can't help but build something that's going to be awesome. And I love that. So let's talk a little bit about some of the other offshoots there. You've got a great foundation. And the reason why I was drawn to it, I'm not going to lie, is because Raymond Little. I look up to Raymond Little tremendously. And I had him on the podcast about a year ago, and his story just absolutely hit me. And it was like, wow, dude, I use him as an example all the time when I talk to homeowners, when I talk to potential folks that could come work for my roofing business. I say, look, here's a guy that literally just less than a decade ago had nothing and was at the lowest point and literally built himself up through hard work, through dedication. And now, he's someone that we all look up to because of the way he's done it. And I think that he's a prime example of what this new version of Win the Storm is really all about.
Well, and he's approachable. And that's another thing that I really like at the board of directors. There's not one person on the board of directors that you can't walk the hall of Win the Storm and go grab and start talking to and start asking for advice. And they're going to give it to you, and they're going to pour knowledge into you freely. Like they're just there to help. That's it. And that's huge for me because it's, what kind of value do we bring everybody? We want everybody to come, not just business owners. We want people that are running the inside of the business. We want production managers, office managers, salespeople, every single person. If you're in a roofing company, even if you're not the owner, we want you to be at this event because there's knowledge you can grab. And there's all of these people that are walking the hall. It's crazy. I was on the phone with, it may have been one of the suppliers, but I know it was somebody that was considering like a large sponsorship. And I was talking to them about it before, and they were just asking general questions. How many people do you think you're going to have? What does the layout look like at the floor plan? And it was like a week later, we announced all of our boards, and I got a call back, and they're like, you know what? I don't care about any of that. I want to be there just for the people that you have on your boards, because those are people that I would like to sell something to right then and there. And if you're telling me just being a part of this puts me in the same room as those people, half of them have a 20, 40, $50 million company, and talk about influence and impact and things like that. So if I'm a vendor or a sponsor, I will just the board members alone, I want a chance to sell to. But if I'm a attendee, I want to speak to those people. And the fact that they're doing this freely, they're not paid. They don't get part of the company. They're just giving. They're servant leaders that are giving to this organization to help build up the community. And that's no different. Another one that I want to talk about is the Board of Health and Wellness. And that's the one that you're in. So we've got you, obviously. We've got David Carroll. We've got Alicia. We've got Kaylee McIntosh, Lindsay Sizemore, Maria Nguyen, and Sean Mata are all amazing people that are on the Board of Health and Wellness. And if you follow or or you see all of these people, just like Chuck Allen, they may go on a 10-mile run tomorrow just because, or own a gym or climb a mountain. Just people that are active, healthy lifestyle people. And again, that's something we can take with us everywhere. It's like whether you're low on energy to run your business or you're just not there mentally, or if something's not clicking, it's like if you get your mind and your body right, everything runs well. They call it, what is it, a core habit, working out, right? It's a core habit. It's like making your bed. They've got all those books and studies about if you wake up, make a bed in the morning, everything goes well that day, or you have a higher chance. The same thing with working out. You get those endorphins, your body gets healthy, and you're just, everything is well-rounded. And so if we have 5,000 roofing owners showing up, and even a 10th of them come and show up in the morning and work out with us, and they can start that routine, and they can listen to people like yourself and like David Carroll, who are very, very successful entrepreneurs, and telling them like, hey, a big part, if not the main part of why I achieved what I achieved is because I got my body right, is because I got healthy.
I cannot say enough how important that is. And it's been a huge factor in my life. You and I actually met for the first time in Dallas 3 years ago with Dave Carroll in a park in the morning. I don't even remember where the park was, but we were running around doing a 5K in Dallas the morning of IRE 3 years ago. And that was one of the most impactful days of my entire life and my career, because literally you and I met that morning in the park for the very first time. I was like, hey man, how you doing? And yeah, I'm doing great. We go for a little run. We had a good time. And here we are 3 years later, transforming an entire event and having the emphasis on health and wellness, which not that long ago, I look at my Facebook memories and it's like 4 years ago, I was a fat slob. And I just realized, life wasn't going well. I was depressed. I hated everything about what was going on. And I just wasn't feeling good. I decided that day to make a commitment that I was going to focus on doing things. And I have packed on a couple pounds this year because I've been doing weight training, but I get up every day. I went to the gym at 3:30 this morning because I had a 6 o'clock podcast today. But I like to go 5-6 days a week. It's very important to me. Like you say, kick off the day, get that core habit to where if I don't go, I feel like I've kind of let myself down. And I want to see a packed house for the morning activities, because I think we're going to have some really fun stuff lined up. We're going to have some cool people out there. And if you go for no other reason than to get up that morning and go out with us and just do a run or do a workout, be around people that are like-minded. And even if you don't work out, even if it's not a part of your life now, commit to it. Tell yourself, I'm going to go to one of these. I'm going to go to all of them. We would love to see you guys there, because I think that's a transformational event in itself. And just those morning workouts are going to be worth the price of admission for Win the Storm. So yeah, health and wellness, super important for what we're doing here. And I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity to be part of that.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's not, don't think just because some of the people involved like Chuck are gym freaks or health nuts or whatever, that you have to be in great shape to be here. They've actually geared workouts for everybody. So they're very entry level. Now there'll be different plans each morning to where you can do like the lighter one or the medium or harder. So depending on your fitness level, you go do that much. But it could change your life. It could save your life just doing that. Going around, being around entrepreneurs, they're going to have speakers there talk to you about your health and your wellness, and very easily that could change the trajectory of your entire life. I know I could tell a huge difference in my life when I am consistently at the gym, working out, eating healthy, doing the right thing versus not. So that's huge. And that's one thing I'm really excited about. And then another one is the fun. I call this the fun board. So it's the board of activities and events. That doesn't sound fun, but it actually is. So their goal is to set up stuff like that's at the actual event, whether it's games, whether it's anything like that, and then like the after party type things. So we really wanted a networking event that was fun. And they came across the Roofer Olympics, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But on the board, Jack Pencil, Justin Hughes, Kelly Denzel, Mike Goldenstein, Jeff Green, Ben Fike, to name a few. And I've got 2 group chats and 2 lists with them, so I may be leaving a couple off. But we've got some really powerful people on that group, and we grab people who are fun. Like if you think of those people, they're fun people. So they do a lot when it comes to the community anyway. If you see a funny Facebook post or somebody doing something crazy, that's what it is. And they came together and they said, okay, we're going to focus on a networking event that is just a blast. Because it is tough. You're coming from around the country and you're going to this roofing event where you probably know nobody, but a lot of people do know each other, and it tends to be kind of cliquey, or it tends to feel cliquey just because you don't know anybody. And unless you're one of those really outgoing people, it can be a little intimidating. So how do we put on an event that first night that gets everybody together, that gets everybody talking, breaks the ice, and gets everybody to know each other, but is not centered around drinking and partying? Because we're trying to get away from that. Like this is, if that's something that you want to do, if you enjoy having a couple drinks or stuff like that, we're not telling you can't, we're not telling you whatever, but we're not going to push that upon anybody. It's not one of those things where just to have fun, you go to a bar and stand and drink. This is an event that, yes, there will be a bar there, but there's also 6 pickleball courts. There's 6 sand volleyball courts. There's a giant, like 2-acre putting green. There's indoor golf simulators. There's an indoor pool table. There's restaurants. It holds like 3,000 people. And we're going to do tournament style games for pickleball, for sand volleyball, for all of the different events there. And then at the same time, we grabbed some coaches, right? What I call like vendor influencer type people, like your John Cenaks and Matt Danskin and David Carroll and Sean Mata, and they're going to coach a team. And we're going to have 3 different games that they play, one coach versus another coach. And it's probably going to be a single game like championship. It's going to be sand volleyball. It's going to be tug of war on the sand volleyball court. So it's hard. I don't know if you played tug of war in
one time. Yeah.
I'm
still reeling from that.
Yeah. And then dodgeball in the sand. So that'll be a lot of fun. And those will go pretty quick and they get trophies. But the really cool thing is, like, some of these events, it's very vendor and sponsor based, like all of the fun, all of the click. It's like all these different vendors that are friends with vendors, and I don't blame them. I mean, they go to these same events over and over again. You do have these friendships. I mean, I'm friends with a lot of these same people, but we want to get real contractors involved, real roofing contractors. That's a huge thing. And so what we've done is we said, okay, these guys can coach, but the team has to consist of roofing contractors, roofing salesmen, roofing company owners, things like that. So they're actual contractors competing against each other in that team. Now, the actual tournaments are open for them. Anybody can join that. So we've got all of this together, and it's going to be night 1, and it's Roofer Olympics, and we've got sponsors for it. And to tell you the truth, it's going to be so much fun. I'm looking forward to it just as much as the entire Win the Storm. Like, it's going to be a blast, you know?
Yeah. And that is what it's all about, folks. It's about changing the atmosphere. It's about inclusion. If you're on the fence thinking, man, I'd like to go to an event, but I don't think I'd fit in. I don't think I would be able to gel with people. I just kind of stand in a corner and I may not learn or have a good time. This is the exact opposite of that. This is your opportunity to become a part of our community, to learn from some of the highest level people, to get to sit and talk with, because like Alan said, these people are all willing to share their time. Everyone that's a part of this cares so much about this industry and wants it to continue to thrive and grow and bring new people in and have so much more positivity than it has in the past. This is going to be the best opportunity for that to happen. So I encourage anybody, and like we were just talking about the workouts, I hope to see people that show up the morning that have never been to a gym before, that have never done it. Maybe people that have never played pickleball. I'm going to do the golf simulator. I'm not going to lie. I've been practicing for months now.
There you go.
And that's going to be my thing. And I still suck, but I'm going to have a great time with it. But it's going to be so cool to change that dynamic, to have a completely different vibe, to where it's not going to be, such and such after party brought to you by so-and-so. And you have to decide which VIP party you're going to go to, because it's going to be a central location. We're all going to be there together. That is so cool. And I love it. So now you got my blood flowing a little bit here. I do want to talk a little bit about the sponsors. Okay. So to do an event of this magnitude, obviously it's gonna cost a lot of money. You're gonna have to bring a lot of people on board, and you're gonna have to show a lot of people the value that this is gonna provide. With the negative history that had kind of developed over the past few years, did you have any issue finding people that were willing to jump on board? Were there people that had maybe done it in the past that were hesitant, or has it been absolutely just overwhelming? Yes, let's do it. We see the vision that you guys are bringing. We want to be a part of it. What was this, the recruitment of sponsors, and what are some of the key sponsors that we're going to see at Win the Storm?
Yeah, so last year they probably saw more of that, and I wasn't as involved last year, so I wasn't having a lot of those direct conversations with potential sponsors or vendors or anything like that, or attendees. But I think that it was just such a blessing going to last year. The biggest thing that I got the feedback from the event last year was the energy. That it was just, it felt clean, it felt revitalized, it felt good.
Yeah, different.
It was different. And I think that when people saw there wasn't that dirtiness, if you will, surrounding it, that he rebuilt that trust. Just having that event within a few months, putting it off, doing it the right way, giving to everybody like he always promised he would. He proved that he's doing it the right way. And then, so this event, I don't think we had much feedback. We did these town halls. So once a month, we went on Facebook Live and did a town hall and talked to everybody. And I think we did 6 of them. The last one is literally next week or the week after. You'll probably get an invitation shortly about it. But, the first one, there was a lot of conversation about the past. The second one, very little conversation about the past. And from the third one forward, it never even got brought up. No negativity, no past. And that's just what it is. You've got to prove that trust and move past it. I think there's 1 or 2 people that got burnt by a lot of money by Anthony. And when Josie purchased the company, he didn't purchase the liability or the debt with that. So that all goes back on Anthony's person, because he whatever happened with the 1 or 2 companies that he did. And I think people understand that. Like, Josie didn't do this. He didn't buy a business that makes a ton of money. And he bought a business that was failing and was losing a ton of money. And he spent a ton of money and it's not profitable. So to revitalize the community and build the community in the right way. So even those people that had that negative feedback that told me, they still ended up sponsoring because they believe in the mission. And it's not so much about that. And that's what we really have to key in on is this. We need help. Our industry does. It really, truly does. Your leadership that you've looked up to for the last 15 or 20 years hasn't always been the best. And it's about impact and legacy. And it's not just achieving success, but it's how you get there. I've been blessed to be born in this industry. And, Josie jokes about calling me Bane, born of the darkness, but it's true. I've seen it all, good and bad. And growing up, I had one of my uncles that's one of the most successful people that anybody's ever talks about in the industry. Even I think there was a post a while back that even like Sam Struthers, who I don't even know very well, tagged my uncle as the most influential person ever in the roofing industry. And he had it all, He had a successful company, 22 offices across the country. Him and my dad were partners. He had another one of my uncles that was partners at one point in time, and he still wasn't happy. He still wasn't there. He still wasn't fulfilled. And he ended up committing suicide. He killed himself because of some hole, something that was missing. And like, I truly believe that if if the events were going on and if event like we're creating right now, Win the Storm, he might still be here today. And how many roofing company owners that achieve that success, but still can't look at themselves in the mirror, still not happy with themselves? It's crazy. I've got another uncle who, same thing, right? Went off, started his own company. He split off with my dad and my other uncle, and my dad ended up over there at one point in time, and I was even over there helping him at one point in time. And anybody would say he's one of the most successful people in the roofing industry. If there's a top 10 list, he makes that list every time. Let me go ahead and switch cameras. There we go.
I gotta say, the internal temp is hot. Alan's bringing the heat, ladies and gentlemen. Bringing the heat. Absolute fire. There we go.
All right. And so I've got another uncle that extremely successful by anybody's definition, except maybe his own. He's always had a lot of internal struggles. And I was blessed to be put around him at a very young age and get to know him. And he's done so many things in his life. But he's not happy. He doesn't have family around him. He can't even look himself in the mirror. He doesn't have anything truly. He doesn't have that happiness. And by his definition of success, he hasn't made it. And again, So why get to the top? Why achieve this success? So there's some people that may be out there and be like, oh, I don't need to go to this. I don't need to do that because I've got it all. But they may look in the mirror, they're not happy. Or some people are trying to climb to the top, but they're doing it the wrong way and hurting people along the way. And how do they know any different? How do you know what's right or wrong in business in this industry if we're not together, either policing ourselves or pushing ourselves to do things the right way, have put faith first, put a family first? You know, everything I do when it comes to business is for these two right here and my wife. Like, if they're not happy, if I don't live a life where they're happy, then I'm not happy. And I could have millions or billions of dollars and have the most successful businesses you'll ever see. And again, if my family is not happy, if my life is not fulfilled, if my relationship with God is not strong, then what's it for? It's for nothing. Again, so it's creating this industry, this community of people where you can look yourself in the mirror after you're successful. And we have to get together and come together to help build this and help show everybody what that example is. We have to lift up leaders that are doing things the right way. I'm so sick and tired of like people throwing people on stage just because, or just because they paid money. And you know, everybody, we vet people, we make sure that they're good people. A lot of times when we have these discussions, it's like, you know, there's this and there's that. And we want people to do good things and really just spread the message of truly uplifting the community. So I that's what I got, right?
Yeah, I love that. And it's so true. You know, your definition of success doesn't always have to equate to dollars. And I think that sometimes it's extremely lonely at the top, and having people that you can be around, that you can work with, that you can talk to about the issues that we all share. We all have the same problems. And when you're building a business in an industry where there's no guarantees and it's very easy to get yourself into a bad situation, even with good intent, man, having people that have been there, people that understand what you're going through, people that can help you avoid certain pitfalls is absolutely invaluable. And I've been super blessed throughout my career. You know, I've got a couple partners in my roofing company that have built successful companies. We've come together through, you know, hey man, I've done this, but I'm not loving myself. I'm not loving what I'm doing. I don't feel good about life right now. And to be able to come together and share these experiences and talk about it and say, hey, look, it doesn't have to be this way. There are things that we can do that can lead to success, and we can still be happy. We can still enjoy life and do the things that we want to do. And I think that is such an amazing perspective that, you know, if one human being that right now feels that they're trapped or feels like, oh my gosh, my business is imploding because of, you know, the way that the insurance model is working right now. A lot of people are relying upon insurance carriers to provide their living. And when you get upside down and you don't have any more resources to continue moving forward, it becomes dire. And I've spoken to a lot of people who are at that point where it's like, dude, I don't not just want to be in the industry. Like, I don't want to live anymore. I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And we're going to change people's lives because there are going to be people that are going to show up with that mindset. And my main objective is to find one or two people at Win the Storm that maybe are struggling, that maybe don't feel good about where they're at in life, even though they're working their asses off. They're every day going out there and hustling and grinding and doing what is perceived to be, you know, the pursuit of success. But sometimes it just doesn't feel that way. So I think that community right there, and the simple fact that we've all lived through that and we're here to help each other out, is really what hammers the point about the community with Win the Storm and with all the people that are involved. So kudos to you, my friend. You put together something amazing through this and have used life experiences to really draw upon some of the best people that can get us through it. So I think that's awesome. I do want to talk about something else, because conferences in general are, you know, you can go there, and like I went to IRE, it was here in San Antonio, and IRE is kind of a different show. There are breakouts and things like that, but it's more of a vendor-based, product-based event. We've spent the last 45 minutes talking about how this is going to be more of a community-based. It's not going to be product specific. It's not going to be that. Obviously, vendors will be involved, but one of the key things that I love going to events for is some of the speakers, some of the panels that you get to sit and listen to the people draw from their experiences and teach. So let's talk a little bit about this, Alan. What kind of speakers, what kind of panels can we expect at this year's event? What kind of value are these folks going to bring to the everyday roofers? Like you say, doesn't have to be an owner. It can be someone that's a laborer. I'm going to bring a guy with me that's on my team that has never been to an event before. I'm going to bring a brand new partner in my business with me to this event so he can see the magnitude of what we do and understand the sense of community and the sense of family. But what kind of speakers are we going to see this year, and how are these going to be impactful for literally everybody that's in attendance?
Yeah. The biggest answer is real roofing contractors, real roofing contractors. And I don't mean to hate on everybody when I say that, right? But there's just so many of these events that lift people up and put people on stage that have never done it before. Maybe they've got a university, maybe they do trainings or this, that, or the other. Just any type of business that's relative to roofing or roofing related. And then they get on stage and they start preaching to people sitting in the crowd that are doing 5, 10, 15, 20 million a year. And they're telling you how to run your roofing business. And they've never even done it before. And it's not just that they haven't. And I'm not so like anti-roofing contractor, where it's like, oh, you haven't nailed a shingle. It's not yet that. It's that you haven't owned a roofing business. And I think we really have done so much when it comes to these panels. We have a ton of panels of actual people who are owners of roofing businesses, or there's panels that are operators of roofing business, panels that are salespeople, and it's really geared in to what you are. So if you're a salesperson and you're going to win the storm, you're going to see that there's tons of panels that are just meant for you to actually learn and get valuable knowledge. And then when you go sit in that panel, it's not a bunch of people that sell to roofers trying to tell you how to do your job. It's a bunch of successful roofing salesperson. If you're an operator, if you're an office manager, if you're an admin, or if you're a production manager and you're in a roofing company and you go to win the storm and you go to one of the operation success panels, one of the panels that is geared towards production or operations, you're going to sit in that panel and you're going to look on stage and you're going to see people that are doing it, that are out there being successful, doing your job, and they're giving you real value about how to grow at your business, and you're going to learn things. Raymond Little has a production manager that ran like $70 million worth of business by himself with just assistants, one single production manager. That is insane. We had production managers that could barely do 10 million a year in a single office. This guy doing it in multiple states. People like that are going to tell you their secrets and their tricks about how they did these things. That's amazing. And then again, owners, right? You want to learn how to structure a sales organization. You want to learn how to train your people. You want manuals, universities, all these things that these people give out that are not roofing company owners. And there's a lot of value that people have from learning from roofers. There's definitely learning by experiencing, but we want those people with those real life experiences on stage. So the first and most important to me is the over 200 roofing salespeople, operators, production managers, roofing contractors, roofing company owners, roofing laborers. All of them are going to be on our stage. And that to me is huge. Like I don't believe another event can even say that. So that's going to be my favorite answer when it comes to speakers, is the real knowledge that's given by real professionals. But I think you've also got your big main stage speakers like Charlie Kirk. Really excited about Charlie Kirk. And there's been a lot of trolls online. There's trolls all over, right?
Of course.
So we posted about Charlie Kirk, and it seemed like there's so many people that aren't even in the roofing industry. So like I do a deep dive. There may have been a handful that were in the roofing industry, but hundreds of people not in the roofing industry saying negative comments just because they don't like him and his politics. But we didn't pick him because his politics. We grabbed Charlie Kirk because of his faith. right, is belief in God is huge. We're very faith-based. It's a very faith-based organization. So you can't do anything without God in your life. God put us all here. And so that was really important to us, that we have somebody faith-based doing the keynote. And then another huge thing is, what does our community stand for? We want to change this to a first choice community. We want you to either come out of high school and go straight to the roofing industry, or go to college to get more knowledgeable and then go straight to the roofing industry, or just go to universities or trade schools that are roofing industry based and go straight into the roofing industry, because there truly is that much value. And Charlie Kirk, one of the things that he's truly known for is he's not a huge fan of college. He loves the trades, and he will go speak it left and right, that trades. Another thing is real world experience. He owns multiple businesses. He's like 28 years old. Did you know he was like only 28 years old?
I did not know that. I watch his videos
Yeah.
all the time on TikTok, and it's like, man, I can see how some people would have that opinion, because the internet is what it is.
Yeah.
And people, like you say, that aren't even in the industry just type in someone's name and just start shit talking them because the opportunity's there. I've always thought that was a pretty big weakness and indication of insecurity. I've always been one that wants to learn from anybody that's done something that I've never done, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'd like to learn, hey, don't do this, or this is the way to, expedite your success. And, I think that's pretty cool. But no, I did not realize he was 28. That's even more impressive.
He's built multiple 9-figure businesses at 28 years old. By 28 years old. I don't even know when he got his first one, but by 28 years old. I mean, that's impressive. And he's done all of that, again, through God and in all of these different ways. And he's got all these stories to lift up. And he is, whether people like it or not, he's one of the most influential people in the world. Like, and to have that much influence and have him listen to us. We have issues. If you want to get political, I have issues with the roofing industry, with immigration, with all these things. And it's like, how do we fix that stuff? We need to talk to people that are influential and bring them to their show. We as a community and an industry, we've been fractured for so long, and we've been doing so many things the right way. And I'll just touch on the immigration stuff just for a second. And again, it's not why we picked him, but it was something that got brought up, and that something I really care about is, I feel like we did this to ourselves as a roofing community. We went out for decades and we hired illegal crews over and over and over again, and never attempted to try to help them get legal. No, we keep them down is what we did. We kept them down, because if they're illegal, they're not going to charge us a lot of money, and they're going to be cheaper, and our profit margins are going to be higher. So why would we ever even attempt to get them legal? Why help them? And it's wrong. And we've done that for so long that, if you go and you look up like the policy, the HB policy, about immigration and visas and green cards, that roofing isn't even a skilled trade, that roofing is not even considered a skilled trade. So why? Because nobody's tried. Nobody's went and pushed roofing as an industry to try to get roofing as a skilled trade, to make more visas available for these crews that we love. I mean, I have roofing crews to this day that still come for family Thanksgiving. Like, they're a big part of my life. I remember every year getting babysat every time my parents would go out and stuff like that. It'd be the crews or the wife of the crew. And I'd grow up with them. And it's like, why have we not helped them? And it's because we haven't tried. So why not come together as a community and talk to people and tell them our problems? Because right now they don't even know them, because we haven't even spoke up. So why not try? It's a lot better than running and hiding and complaining and not going to an event because he's the speaker. Why not actually take your voice and go talk to him and try to create some change? So for the naysayers, I say, come talk to him and try to actually elicit some change, instead of trying to sit there. Like, be the difference, make a difference, be the positive change. If there's a problem, stand up and go try to fix it. Come together, and then there's other big keynotes that haven't been announced yet, and I don't know when this is going to air, so I don't want to.
It's going to be in 3 days. So if you can't spill the beans, we're good.
There's one big one that's coming this week, so keep an eye out for it. And then there'll be a few more big ones as well. So we're gonna have multiple keynotes, and we're looking at getting maybe a music source and stuff like that. So a lot of fun stuff. A lot of fun stuff.
I think it's awesome. And you really hit the nail on the head. I mean, most of the issues in our industry have been self-imposed over the course of time. And I preach that all the time. You know, we're in the position we're in because we put ourselves there. And it was self-serving for decades. And you're spot on. You know, we are like family, except for the fact that we're not trying to bring people up. We're just kind of like, hey, you know, you go do your thing, make me my money, we'll pay you, you can support your family. And we always viewed that as like, well, hey, man, we're providing a source of income and we're helping. But there was always more that could be done. And
Yeah.
I think that's really the thing that hits hardest for me is I love the people that I've worked with over the years. It's crazy because I stay in contact closely with roofing laborers, with installers that I've known for 15, 20 years. And I get people that reach out to me and send me messages and say, hey, you know, when I was just a guy driving the dumpster truck, you told me that you saw something else in me and you helped me along the way and have taught me things that have helped me to elevate to where I now run a business and I'm successful and I'm doing everything legitimately. And to me, that's really the most important aspect of our industry right now is helping the people that have helped us get to where we are, that have been there for us, that have been loyal, that have been hardworking and dedicated, because you get to a certain point where your shelf life expires and you can't go out there and beat on roofs with hammers anymore. You know, you get into your 40s and 50s and you've been doing it literally since you're a teenager. What is there after that, you know? And then it's almost like people get discarded and forgotten, and they've been loyal to us. So I love the fact that we're trying to do something to improve that for a lot of people that have been here for us that are now in need of our help. And the fact that we're not just turning our backs and saying, well, whatever, we'll go get the next round and, you know, forget you, you're on your own. That really exemplifies the spirit of what this Win the Storm conference, what everybody that's involved really embodies, in my opinion. And I think that's why I'm so excited for it, because it is truly a community. It is truly not going to be, hey, come watch me speak today and I'm going to sell you within 3 minutes. I'm going to start pitching my product. And it's not going to be a sales fest. It's going to be real people that are genuine, that are wanting to help, that are looking to build upon what we have got, which is a tremendous industry. This is the best industry in the world, Alan. I would not ever think of doing anything else. And I'm so grateful that 27 years ago on a Friday, I had a bad day and I ended up pulling into the supply house and getting a job in this deal because I've never left. And it's going to be, you know, as long as I'm alive, I want to do something to help contribute to growth and development and improvement of our industry. And it really means the world to me. So we're coming up on the hour. This has been a quick hour-long podcast. I do have a couple things I want to ask you before we bid adieu. Let's say that right now someone's been watching this and they've been on the fence. They've heard the negative things about the event over the years. They still see people that are saying, you know, it's not going to be good. It is what it was. This isn't going to change. But they're listening to what we're saying and they're saying, you know what, that sounds like something that I really would like to be a part of. How can people get tickets? How can they become a part of the community? How can they attend the event? We know the event's going to be on August 20th through 22nd in Dallas. What are some of the ways that people can reach out and become further involved and become part of the community that are maybe on the fringe right now, or, you know, still questioning whether or not this is actually a good investment for themselves?
Yeah. You know, there's so much to unpack there, right? So our biggest thing is come. Don't sit on the fence, come. You've got people like Raymond Little and Jay Haynes that built 8-9-figure businesses, and they attribute much of their success to going to events and specifically going to Win the Storm in the past. And we're taking all the good things of the Win the Storm of the past, but we're just doing it the right way now. And so imagine going to an event where you can walk up to somebody like Raymond Little, who in 7 years started a company in one of the hardest markets in the world and took that company company with a couple partners from $0 to almost 100 million a year and sold it for like a 7-8x multiplier within 7 years and led from the front and worked his ass off. And you're telling me that it's not worth it for you to go to this event, shake his hand, and ask him 3 questions about the 3 biggest problems in your roofing industry. And he's going to look you in the eye and take time and answer those questions and tell you how he did it. And that's just one of 2-3 dozen people like that are going to be walking the halls, that are there, that are approachable, and that really want to help you and grow your business. That doesn't touch all the knowledge that you're going to get out the panels. We're going to have workshops. We're going to have all of those things. And it's like bringing your sales guys for motivation. The thing is, if you take the price of it and you take the profit margin in one job, selling one extra job is going to pay for this event for you. Bottom line, if you're a salesperson, if you're not going to pick up one golden nugget to help you sell one more job, then that's because you didn't pay attention. You just didn't show up. You slept through it. You stayed at the hotel. You went out that night. There's no way that you can come to this event as a salesperson and not grab enough knowledge and motivation and excitement to go sell one more job when you get back home. It'd probably sell more like 100 more jobs after
Absolutely.
this. Same thing, business owner, same thing, office manager, admin. If you're a production manager, you're sitting there and you're doing 5-10 million a year and you're the only guy running the production and you're pulling your hair out, which you probably are, because I will always say it and I'll shout it from the rooftops. The production manager is the hardest position of any job. And then you go sit in and you talk to people that were running 20, 30, 40, $50 million offices with one single production manager. You tell me that you can't get knowledge from that person that's going to put the hair back in your head. That's not a bald joke, right? But seriously, you really need to go and grab this knowledge and help build yourself as a person and as a business. To actually get tickets, that's really easy. Winthestorm.com. There's discounts going on right now. And look, there's a few people that have reached out to me and they've said, I just can't afford it right now. I've got too many jobs building, too much in the pipeline. I can get the travel there, but I can't go. I will buy you a ticket personally. If you truly can't financially make it, I will happily do that. My company, National Claims Advisors, we did a very large sponsorship recently that we're able to give even a bigger reduction on tickets. So essentially paid a bunch of money just to get a big discount to give tickets away. And we've almost given all of those tickets away at that discounted price, but we still have a few more available. So reach out to me personally. If whatever reason you can't be afraid of it or you can't afford it, don't be too prideful not to reach out. Slide in my DMs, let me know. But other than that, go to the website, use the discount code, slide in my DMs, whatever it takes. You got to be there. You got to invest in your business. You're just hurting yourself if you don't.
Yep. I couldn't have said that any better. And I agree with you 100%. I think if you are in the position where you can't go because financially or you're too busy, this is the perfect opportunity for you to break free from that. And this is the perfect event for you, because it will not get better before it gets worse in a situation like that. And before you crash into the wall, before you find yourself in a dire situation, come learn from some of the absolute legends of the industry, some of the very best human beings, people that genuinely do care and want this to be a summit of success for people that have not achieved it yet and are still searching for the right answers to continue to grow and develop. So this is awesome. I hope that everybody that watches this show is present. We're 3 weeks out from Win the Storm, August 20th through 22nd, Dallas, Texas. There's still plenty of time to get your tickets, to get your travel arrangements. And like Alan said, there's really no excuse to not do it other than I just don't want to get any better. I don't want my life to be easier, and I don't want to learn from some of the best people. So if that's you, then more power to you. We'll see you someday down the road, and you're going to tell us the story of how you regret not coming. So avoid that story down the road and just show up this year, see what's changed, see why Win the Storm is going to be such a refreshing, different atmosphere than it's been over the past decade. And, it's going to be a fun time. You're going to be in the Olympics, and we're going to have workouts, and we're going to have a lot of cool people to talk to. Some of my best friends in the industry. It's going to be amazing. So I look forward to it. And Alan, I can't thank you enough for calling me 6 months ago and asking me to have a little bit of a participation in this event. It means the world to me, because I also believe the same thing you do. We've got the best industry in the world, and we can continue to make it better. We can make it thrive. We can grow it for the future. And it all starts with this event. So hope we see you guys there. Before we call it a day, I do want to give a shout out to my sponsor, who I do believe is also a sponsor at Win the Storm.
Oh, yeah.
And that's roofer.com. That's ROOFR. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know how much I love Roofer. They've been my sponsor for 3 years. I can't wait to go to the booth at Roofer at Win the Storm and say hi to all my friends there. They have done so much to help me over the last couple of years with the roofing company, through their program, through the support that they give to the podcast. And if you're not using Roofer for your business, show up at Win the Storm, go to the Roofer booth, talk to the people, see what they have to offer, because they are also game changers. And just like what we were discussing, it's made for roofers by roofers. It's not a software that was built by some guys that had never done it. It was literally people that were on the roofs doing the actual work and have been generationally involved in this industry. So shout out to Roofer. Shout out to my man, Alan. It's been 842 days since we last spoke on the Keepin It Rio podcast. The next one is not going to be 842 days from now. We're going to do it again sometime probably in the very near future. We've still got a lot of stuff to talk about, but we wanted to cover Win the Storm today because it's near and dear to both of our hearts, and a lot of hard work is going into this. So everybody, make sure that you do your part to grow your company, to grow your mindset, to just be better, and to get yourself in a room with some of the absolute legends. So that pretty much is what I've got to say.
There we go. I love it.
Yeah. Any final words for our audience before we say goodbye?
Yeah. I'll see you August 20th through 22nd at Win the Storm.
There we go, folks. Doesn't get any better than that. Until next Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, I always end my podcast with the most corny thing ever, which is our tagline. Every good podcast has one. Keep on keeping it Rio. And we'll see you guys next week. I got another amazing guest next week. You're going to love it. But this has been an absolute pleasure for me, Alan. Thank you. If you would stick around for a couple seconds after I hit the end button, we'll end it right now with our shout out to the sponsor, our little ad, and we will see you guys next Thursday for Keeping It Rio.
We're Roofer. We know that managing a roofing business can be chaotic, so we created a single platform with all the tools you need to easily run your roofing business. Stop switching between multiple different softwares and experience streamlined operations from lead to payment in hours instead of days. Visit roofr.com to get started.